Halo semuanya, selamat hari Minggu dan selamat datang di ibadah online Gereja C3 Bukit hari ini. Saya sangat senang karena saudara meluangkan waktu saudara untuk mengikuti ibadah kita hari ini. Sebelum kita masuk ke dalam ibadah hari ini, saya ingin mengingatkan saudara tentang firman Tuhan di Filipi 4 ayat 13. Dikatakan, segala perkara dapat kutanggung di dalam Dia yang memberikan kekuatan kepadaku. Mungkin saudara pernah mengalami kesepian atau sedih atau cemas dan iman kita mulai goyah di dalam Tuhan. Terlebih lagi dengan keadaan dan situasi yang sedang kita hadapi saat ini dan rasanya selama 2 tahun kita begini-begini aja atau rasanya kita stuck di tempat yang sama. Namun ayat ini mengingatkan kita kalau segala sesuatu bisa kita tanggung di dalam Tuhan karena Dia telah memberikan kekuatannya kepada kita sehingga kita bisa menghadapi itu dan kita bisa menanggung segalanya di dalam Dia. Ada kuasa di dalam nama Tuhan. Jadi, mari kita percaya kepada Dia dan juga berikan segala masalah kita, segala hal yang membuat kita sulit untuk bergerak, atau segala hal yang mungkin mencobai saudara, mari kita serahkan ke dalam nama Tuhan dan berikan segala rasa sakit, rasa cemas, atau kesepian kita ke dalam Tuhan, sehingga Dia bisa memberikan kita keringanan dan Dia juga bisa memberikan kita kekuatan yang baru. Karena ingat, ada kuasa di dalam nama Tuhan. Jadi sebelum kita masuk ke dalam firman Tuhan hari ini, saya ingin berdoa buat kita semua. Mari kita berdoa. Bapa, terima kasih Tuhan buat hadirat-Mu saat ini Bapa. Terima kasih Tuhan buat apapun yang Kau akan lakukan Tuhan dalam kehidupan kami hari ini Tuhan. Tuhan, kami mau serahkan ibadah kami hari ini Bapa. Kami mau serahkan hati kami, pikiran kami ke dalam tangan-Mu Bapa. Engkau yang turut campur tangan Tuhan di dalam ibadah kami dari awal hingga akhir Tuhan. Dan kami ingin mendapatkan sesuatu Tuhan. Kami ingin menerima sesuatu Tuhan. Dan kami yakin Bapa, lewat firman-Mu kali ini Tuhan akan ada kekuatan yang baru Tuhan. Kami bisa melihat visi-Mu Bapa di dalam gereja kami, di dalam kehidupan kami juga Bapa. Terima kasih Tuhan, Engkau yang campur tangan Tuhan, kami mau siapkan hati kami Tuhan, kami mau buka hati kami Tuhan untuk menerima firman-Mu ini Bapa. Terima kasih Bapa, kami ucap syukur dan berdoa, haleluya, amin. Hari ini kita akan mendengarkan firman Tuhan dan juga sharing dari Pastor Rachael, Sitorus. Beliau akan menyampaikan tentang visi untuk gereja kita. Dan mari kita siapkan catatan kita dan juga mari kita siapkan hati kita. Mari kita mengamini setiap visi yang akan disampaikan oleh Pastor Rachael. Karena kita tahu visi ini akan membawa gereja kita lagi semakin bertumbuh dan juga semakin berkembang.
And so I want to start today by asking you a question.
Saya mau mulai dengan satu pertanyaan.
Have you ever summited a mountain or a tall peak before?
Apakah saudara pernah mendaki ke gunung atau ke puncak sebelumnya?
So I know a few of the team a few weeks ago climbed Mount Batur. So has anyone summited a mountain like Mount Batur or Mount Agun or another?
Saya dengar beberapa minggu lalu kalau beberapa tim kita ada yang ke Batur. Ada yang udah pernah hiking?
I think most people have done it, yeah. Good. So I haven't done personally, Lena, Mount Batur yet or Mount Agun. It's just always the wrong timing. Usually it's because I have to preach on Sunday and everyone goes out on Friday night and then I won't be awake for the sermon on the Sunday morning. So that's why I haven't done it just yet.
Pastor Rachael akan pergi ke Mount Batur katanya.
I think we need a midweek hike, like on a Wednesday or something. So they can sleep for 3 days. Because I'm not as young as you, Chinta. You can get up and just go for it again, but I need a couple of days to recover if I don't sleep at all at night. Although our baby is testing that at the moment, so maybe I've got more stamina than I think. So when you summit a mountain, have a think about or reflect back about the view that you can see when you're on top of that mountain.
Ketika kita berada di puncak gunung, yang kita lihat adalah bagaimana keindahan dari puncak.
I think you could probably agree that it's pretty spectacular, isn't it, when you look above and you see out across all of the lands.
Saya rasa saudara pasti setuju begitu ada pemandangan begitu spektakuler kalau kita melihat dari atas puncak gunung.
And the best summits are the ones where you can see 360-degree views all the way around.
Iya, 360 derajat pemandangan dari atas puncak gunung.
And the perspective that you get at that point is way different than when you're at the base of the mountain or even climbing the mountain, right?
Iya, jadi pemandangan kita beda kalau kita berada di bawah atau ketika kita mendaki, tapi lebih spektakuler kalau di atas.
Today, as we look at the vision for our church, what I feel like God's going to do is to put us on the mountaintop, so to speak, today.
Hari ini kita mau melihat visi gereja kita. Saya percaya Tuhan menempatkan kita di atas puncak gunung untuk kita bisa melihat visi hidup kita dan gereja kita.
That He's going to show us from His perspective what He sees is going to happen in the coming year for us as a church.
Dia mau kita melihat secara perspektifnya Tuhan, apa yang harus dilakukan.
Because did you know that God has a mission for us to complete as a church?
Karena saudara tahu kalau Tuhan punya misi untuk kita selesaikan di dunia ini.
He has a direction that He's taking us in.
Juga tujuan untuk kita diarahkan kepada kita.
An adventure to go on as a church.
Dan petualangan sebagai satu gereja.
There are people that God's calling us to reach.
Ada orang-orang yang Tuhan panggil untuk kita jangkau.
Lives that are going to be impacted by the gospel.
Dan juga hidup banyak orang yang dipengaruhi oleh Injil.
People are going to be saved.
Orang yang akan
They're
diselamatkan.
going to be set free.
Yang dibebaskan.
They're going to find life to overflowing in Jesus
Dan
Christ.
juga mengalami hidup kelimpahan di dalam Yesus Kristus.
And so as a church, God has territory for us to take.
Jadi sebagai gereja kita punya teritorial di mana Tuhan mau kita kuasai.
So as we look today at the vision that God has for us as a church,
Jadi kalau kita lihat visi yang Tuhan kasih kepada kita sebagai gereja,
before we do that,
sebelum melakukannya,
I want to take a little moment to look back at where we've come from.
kita harus melihat dari mana asal kita.
Just like when you're on a mountaintop, you can look back down the pathway that you've taken to get to the summit.
Sama seperti kita di atas puncak gunung, Tuhan membantu kita untuk sampai ke summit.
That we want to have a look back just for a moment at the journey that God's been leading us on as a church.
Kita lihat perjalanan kita sebagai satu gereja.
So last week we celebrated our 5th birthday.
Minggu lalu kita merayakan ulang tahun kelima.
Thank you to everyone that joined us on Zoom. I hope that the Bali Life crew enjoyed the cake. Did you get a piece in the end?
I don't get it.
Oh, we should have, Marta, I should have made it. Did you eat the chocolate? Was it? Yeah.
Iya, minggu lalu kita semua yang terima kasih udah ikut Zoom ulang tahunnya gereja.
And so it was great last week. We got to look a little bit back at the journey that we've been on over the last 5 years as a church.
Iya, kita mungkin melihat video di mana perjalanan kita dari mulai gereja sampai kita berumur 5 tahun.
And God has really been so faithful to us in this journey.
Kita lihat bagaimana Tuhan sangat setia selama perjalanan hidup kita.
But I also want to remind us that even though our church here is only 5 years old, our church as a whole is actually decades old.
Iya, jadi
And I'll explain that a little bit more in a moment.
Jadi walaupun kita masih 5 tahun, sebenarnya gereja kita adalah dari 4 dekade gereja kita yang sebelumnya.
So many of you would know that our church here is a campus of a church in Perth, Australia, called C3 Hepburn Heights.
Mungkin saudara tahu kalau gereja C3 Bukit adalah gereja kampus dari gereja C3 Hepburn Heights.
And so our church has been in existence for over 45 years.
Dan gereja C3 Hepburn Heights itu sudah ada 45 tahun yang lalu.
And so I've attended this church since I was in my mother's tummy with my sister. So over 38 years.
Ya, jadi saya sudah 30 tahun bergereja di sana sejak saya masih dikandung ibu saya.
And so I've got to see the growth and the changes that have happened during that time.
Dan saya melihat bagaimana perubahan dan pertumbuhan gereja.
So we're going to do a little trip down memory lane so that you know where we're coming from. That this is not just a 5-year-old church. This is almost half a century old church, yeah?
Jadi bukan hanya gereja berumur 5 tahun, saya akan bawa kembali ke flashback gereja kita dulu.
Okay, so these were our first senior pastors. We have Frank and June Holgren.
Senior
They're the
pastor
ones
yang
standing
pertama,
in the middle, the guy in the blue and the lady in the purple.
ya, Pastor
Always
Frank and
purple.
June Holgren.
So June's favorite color was always purple. She usually went. So Frank and June, they started our church. So they were my first pastors. And they were just such a wonderful couple. They pioneered our church in a season and time which was quite difficult to start a church, have women in leadership, moving in the spirit, lots of things that they encountered and overcame, and they are just exceptional people.
Iya, jadi yang di tengah berdua itu Pastor Frank dan Pastor June, mereka yang memulai dan membangun gereja pertama kali.
So Pastor Frank unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but Pastor June is still going. She's still going strong.
Yeah.
An amazing lady.
Pastor Frank meninggal beberapa tahun yang lalu, tapi Pastor June masih ada.
Okay, do you want to have a look at where we used to? Actually, no, we'll move to. Yes, we do have a picture. This is what our old church used to be, our very first church.
Ya, Disinilah gereja C3 Band pertama kali dulu.
And when we first started, we were called Shiloh Faith Center.
Dulu namanya Shiloh Faith Center.
And so this is my childhood. I remember sitting at the back because we were always late, our family. We would sit at the back. This actually went up on an angle. And we would sit and it looked like an upside down ark. You know, like the ark in the Bible. Yeah, I don't know if you can picture it.
Kelihatannya seperti terah Noah.
And so that was Shiloh Faith Center. And I have many memories being in that building. We saw great moves of God in that place.
Ya, Pastor Rachael punya banyak memori di tempat ini.
And so you can see in the middle we have John and Di Finkeldy, who are our second senior pastors for our church. And we have a photo of them. They're on the right with Pastor Jason M.
Ini adalah senior pastor yang kedua, Pastor John dan Pastor Di.
And we see as under John and Di's leadership, we went from strength to strength as a church.
Di bawah kepemimpinan Pastor John dan Pastor Di, di mana leadership itu semakin bertumbuh dan semakin kuat.
John and Di were outstanding leaders. They were great at developing leaders.
Ya, mereka adalah pemimpin yang luar biasa. Mereka memunculkan banyak pemimpin baru di gereja.
And they did something really special. They started a building campaign and they helped build a purpose-built church, all functioning just for our church. And I think we've got some photos of that as
Mereka
well.
berkampanye dan juga membangun bangunan khusus untuk gereja.
And so when we made the move, we moved from Shiloh Faith Center to North City Christian Center.
Ya, dari Elevetion Center mereka pindah ke North City Christian Center.
And this is our current building right now for C3 Heights.
Dan ini adalah bangunan yang sekarang menjadi C3 Heights.
So you can see it looks a little bit different now than it does back in those photos.
Ya, tapi ini dulu, zaman dulu, nanti ada yang baru lagi.
But we had some state-of-the-art building at that time. You can see the camera guy at the back. There was even a little box for the cameraman. I don't know if you can notice that, but it was spectacular, the building at that time. It was amazing what Pastor John and Di led us into, being able to get a building like that.
Ya, jadi Pastor John dan Pastor Di lah yang memulai untuk mereka bisa memiliki gedung ini pada waktu itu.
And so we moved from being called North City Christian Center to C3 Heights when we joined the C3 movement.
Ya, ketika gereja kita mengikuti C3 movement, kita menjadi C3 Heights.
And this is one of our church birthdays that we had. I don't know if you can see me. Can you see me in the picture? Oh. Ooh, in the blue. How did you see here so fast?
Gesture.
I was taking a photo. I think I still have that photo of that time. And so we then, from when we had Pastor John and Di, they transitioned 10 years ago to be under Pastor Jason.
Ya, jadi Pastor John dan Pastor Di mentransisikan leadership mereka 10 tahun yang lalu kepada Pastor Jason dan Pastor M.
And so these are our current pastors.
Jadi ini adalah pastor kita yang sekarang.
And we love them so much.
Dan kami sangat mengasihi mereka.
And in fact, today is their 10-year anniversary of leading our church.
Dan hari ini tepat 10 tahun mereka memimpin gereja.
And so they have a special service happening right now at C3 Heights.
Dan mereka sekarang lagi ada ibadah khusus untuk mereka.
So I encourage you, if you want to get onto social media and just honor them and bless them, or comment on a post that you might see on C3 Heights today, that would be wonderful. We'd love to bless them.
Ya, hari ini boleh saudara cek Instagram atau websitenya, YouTube-nya C3 Heights.
That's right. It is on YouTube as well. You can watch it. Yeah.
Selamat dan sebagainya.
Awesome. So under Pastor Jason M's leadership over these last 10 years, God has done extraordinary things.
Iya, selama 10 tahun kepemimpinan mereka banyak hal besar yang Tuhan lakukan.
So we were one church in one location.
Kita satu gereja, bukan hanya di satu lokasi.
And now we're one church in 6 locations, including here in Bali.
Tapi berkembang menjadi 6 lokasi termasuk di Bali.
And so we have different locations all through Western Australia, and then obviously our campus here.
Dan juga beberapa lokasi di Australia Barat.
So as we stand today looking at the vision for our church in the future,
jadi kalau kita sekarang berdiri melihat visi untuk gereja kita di masa depan,
I want us to remember how far we've come as a church.
mari kita melihat seberapa jauh kita sudah melangkah sebagai satu gereja.
I want us to see how much we've grown across the years.
Dan kita bisa lihat berapa besar kita bertumbuh sepanjang tahun yang Tuhan sudah bawa.
And that just as God was faithful over all those decades of our church and under all of the different pastors leading our church, He's going to continue to be faithful moving into the future.
Allah yang sama, Allah yang setia membawa kita selama berdekade untuk memimpin melalui senior pastor, dia akan juga membawa gereja kita lebih lagi di masa depan.
You know, we've gone through so many difficult moments as a church. We've seen breakthrough come. We've seen God's provision come.
Ya banyak hal yang terjadi di gereja kita bisa melewati masa sulit tapi juga ada terobosan di gereja
We've
kita.
seen so many victories come and miracles flow from
Kita melihat
God.
kemenangan dan juga mukjizat terjadi.
And so I want this to give us confidence and strength as we look to the future and look at the vision God has. We know we can be confident about that because God's already led us through to this
Ya,
point.
kita harus yakin dan percaya diri kalau Tuhan akan memampukan kita melewati semua seperti yang sudah Dia lakukan sebelumnya.
And so as we look at the vision for our church here in Bali, we must remember that we're part of a bigger picture of what God is doing.
Kita harus ingat kalau kita adalah bagian dari gambaran besar apa yang Tuhan akan lakukan.
That we're building upon over 4.5 decades of legacy.
Kita dibangun di atas legasi 45 tahun.
And so I want you to know as we talk about the vision today that we are fully aligned with Pastor Jace and Em Schroeder's vision for our church.
Jadi visi kita untuk gereja ini kita sejajar sesuai dengan visinya Pastor Jason dan Pastor M.
As Emmanuel and I lead this campus here, we are in line, totally submitted to Pastor Jason M's leadership.
Sama seperti Pastor Rex dan Emmanuel juga memimpin gereja ini, kami juga inline dengan visinya Pastor Jace dan
And so
M.
we understand that unity is such a key principle in the kingdom of God.
Kami mengerti kalau kesatuan hati adalah kunci utama untuk kerajaan Tuhan.
It's highly valued.
Sangat dihargai.
And as a campus, we want to align ourselves under the vision that Pastor Jason M have for us.
Sebagai gereja kampus, kita semua di sini mari kita mengikuti visinya Pastor Jace dan Pastor M.
Because as we do that,
Sebab ketika kita melakukannya,
the flow of blessing that's upon C3 Hepburn Heights is going to flow down upon our church.
iya, apa yang Tuhan memberikan di otoritas tertinggi akan mengalir berkat Tuhan juga atas gereja kita.
And so we live in a world that wants to be divided or opinionated or critical,
Kalaupun kita tinggal di dunia yang banyak opini dan terpisah-pisah,
but we want to stand strong and firm and say, no, we're not going to have that in our church. We want to be unified under the name of Jesus.
iya, tapi saudara punya hati, iya aku bersatu hati di gereja, jangan ada perpecahan.
Because where there is unity, God can pour out His richest of
Iya,
blessings.
karena di mana ada kesatuan hati ada berkat Tuhan yang tercurah.
And He can use our church to do mighty exploits for His name.
Dan Dia bisa memakai gereja kita dan kita semua di sini untuk kemuliaan Tuhan.
And we can see evidence of this throughout the early church.
Kita sudah melihat banyak buktinya di gereja kita sebelumnya.
I've been reading through the book of Acts as part of my personal devotion time. And time again in the book of Acts, we see that there was such unity in the early believers.
Saya sudah membaca kisah para rasul dan itu salah satu kitab favorit saya dan saya sudah lihat bagaimana kesatuan hati terjadi di jemaat mula-mula.
And where there was unity, there was this blessing that came. There was an outpouring of the miraculous. There was provision. There was salvations.
Iya.
Amazing miracles took place.
Di mana ada kesatuan hati, ada keselamatan, ada mukjizat dan ada terobosan terjadi atas gereja.
And David describes unity in this way in Psalm 133 verse 1.
Nah, Daud menggambarkan kesatuan hati di Mazmur 133 ayat 1.
Let's read it out together in English first.
Mari kita baca bersama di
All right,
bahasa
1, 2,
Inggris.
3. How
How
good
good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity.
Okay, in Indonesian, 1, 2, 3.
Sungguh alangkah baiknya dan indahnya apabila saudara-saudara diam bersama dengan rukun.
Okay, so today I want to share with you the vision that Pastor Jace and Em have given for our church.
Hari ini saya akan sharing visi yang sudah Pastor Jason dan Emma bagikan untuk gereja kita.
Now, having a vision for our lives is vitally important.
Mempunyai visi dalam hidup itu sangat penting.
There are so many possibilities of what we could do with our time.
Kita bisa melakukan banyak hal dengan waktu kita.
So many options about what we can do.
Banyak pilihan apa yang harus kita lakukan.
But as we seek God's vision for our church and for our lives,
Tapi saat kita mencari visi Tuhan untuk kehidupan kita,
we align ourselves with His plan and purpose for us.
kita align dengan tujuan Tuhan atas hidup kita.
I love this quote from Helen Keller. She said, "The only thing worse than being blind is having sight without vision."
Ada quote dari Helen Keller adalah, hal yang lebih buruk daripada menjadi buta adalah memiliki penglihatan tapi tanpa visi.
Now, Helen Keller herself was both blind and deaf.
Dan Helen Keller ini buta dan tuli.
She's a remarkable lady. She taught herself how to speak.
dia mengajarkan dirinya bagaimana untuk berbicara.
But she recognized that it was far more important to have that sense of vision in her heart rather than having physical sight.
Dia mengajarkan bagaimana kalau memiliki visi daripada penglihatan yang secara fisik.
And so as we have a vision for our lives, it gives us direction and focus.
Saat kita punya visi, kita punya fokus dan arah tujuan.
All right, so as a church, our vision is called the purpose circles.
Jadi sebagai gereja kita punya visi itu tujuan, lingkaran tujuan.
And you can see them on here on the screen.
Saudara bisa lihat di layar,
Our purpose circles.
purpose circle, lingkaran tujuan.
So this is our vision.
Ini visi kita.
Now these purpose circles, they summarize what is the heart at the heart of Jesus.
Di center utamanya adalah Yesus.
Jesus is our good shepherd. He leads us and he guides us.
Yesus adalah gembala yang baik, dia memimpin dan menuntun kita.
And these purpose circles, they give us steps that we can take to be able to follow and listen to his voice.
Dan melalui ini dia menuntun kita untuk mendengarkan suaranya.
And so you can see that we have 3 circles.
Ada 3 lingkaran.
Starting in the center circle, which is our why.
Yang lingkaran paling dalam itu adalah why atau mengapa.
Into the second circle, which is our how.
Lingkaran kedua adalah how atau bagaimana.
And then the outer circle, which is our what.
Dan lingkaran ketiga adalah what atau apa.
So there are 7 elements as part of our purpose circles.
Ada 7 elemen dari tujuan gereja kita.
And you can see at the very center is our purpose statement. Jesus gives life to the full, live it, share it.
Dan juga statement tujuan kita. Tuhan Yesus memberikan hidup yang berkelimpahan, hidupi dan bagikan.
In the second circle, we have prayer, Bible, and discipleship community.
Di lingkaran kedua ada berdoa, Alkitab dan juga pemuritan komunitas.
And in the outer circle, we have grow as influencers, go beyond, +1, and building healthy relationships.
Lingkaran yang ketiga bertumbuh sebagai pemberi pengaruh, go beyond +1 dan membangun hubungan yang sehat.
Now we're going to go into these in a little bit more detail in a minute, but because we've only got a short amount of time, we actually have a resource available for all of us to be able to use or watch.
Iya, jadi kami ada resource yang saudara bisa pakai dan tonton untuk ini penjelasan purpose-nya.
Pastor Jace has recorded a video explaining each of these elements, and they're available on the C3 Heights YouTube.
Pastor Jason sudah membagikan elemen ini dan dibagikan di YouTube-nya C3 Heights.
And also we have a number of resources and things available for us to be able to grow in each of these areas.
Kita punya berbagai resource yang untuk kita bisa bertumbuh di area ini.
And so they're also currently available on YouTube and also on the church website.
Juga ada di YouTube dan websitenya gereja.
And we're looking to be able to have similar resources available in Indonesian.
Kami juga akan mencari sumber yang sama untuk di bahasa Indonesia kan.
So we'll keep you updated about when those resources will be available to you.
Kami akan info ketika itu tersedia.
And so these give us some helpful steps to be able to grow in each of these areas.
Jadi ini membantu kita untuk bertumbuh dalam area yang tadi saya sudah sebutkan.
All right, so let's have a little look closer at these circles. The center circle here is our purpose statement, as I said.
Di lingkaran pertama seperti statement tujuan gereja kita.
And you'll notice that there's one word that's bigger than any of the other words.
Ya, satu kata yang paling tebal dan besar apa itu?
It's the name that's lifted above every other name.
Iya, nama yang ditinggikan atas segala nama, Yesus
It's the
Tuhan.
name by which we're saved.
Di mana saudara dan saya
The
diselamatkan.
name that sets us free.
Nama yang membebaskan kita.
The name that rescued us.
Nama yang menyelamatkan hidup
We've
kita.
got Jesus right at the center of our purpose as a
Yeah.
church.
Yesus adalah pusat dari tujuan hidup kita.
And so our Christian walk, it comes alive when we have Jesus right at the center.
Ya, perjalanan hidup kita itu menjadi hidup kalau Yesus adalah pusat perjalanan kita.
Our journey of following Jesus comes alive when the love and the life and sacrifice of Jesus is at the center of who we are.
Iya, jadi kasih Tuhan, kehidupan yang sudah Tuhan berikan itu adalah alasan kenapa kita punya tujuan hidup.
When we embrace Jesus with all our heart, all our mind, our soul, our whole being, that's when we can live life to the full that He has for us.
Ketika kita menerima kasih-Nya Tuhan, pengorbanan Tuhan, itulah yang membuat kita bisa mempunyai tujuan hidup.
Hebrews 12 verses 1 to 2 gives us this exact instruction. It says, "Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith."
Di Ibrani 12 ayat 1-2 dikatakan, dan berlomba dengan tekun dalam perlombaan yang diwajibkan bagi kita. Marilah kita melakukannya dengan mata yang tertuju kepada Yesus, yang memimpin kita dalam iman dan yang membawa iman kita itu kepada kesempurnaan.
We need to fix our eyes on Jesus.
Kita mau fokus mata kita kepada Tuhan Yesus.
He is our reason.
Dia alasannya kita,
He is our purpose.
tujuan kita.
He brings us meaning.
Dia memberikan arti kehidupan.
Even when things around us are getting shaky,
Bahkan ketika hal-hal di kehidupan kita itu bergoncang,
even when there's hard things that are happening in the world that maybe we don't understand and maybe we're scared about,
hal-hal sulit terjadi dalam kehidupan kita dan banyak hal yang membuat kita takut.
that no matter what is happening, we can fix our eyes on Jesus.
Apapun yang terjadi, biar fokus mata kita kepada Tuhan Yesus.
And He brings us comfort.
Dan Tuhan Yesus memberikan kita rasa nyaman,
He brings us faith. He brings us strength.
memberikan iman, kekuatan.
We don't have to stand in fear.
Gak perlu takut.
But actually, we can look forward to the future with faith because Jesus is right there with us.
Kita bisa melihat dengan iman ke masa depan karena Yesus ada bersama kita.
So Jesus is at the center. Jesus gives us life to the full.
Yesus ada di pusat kehidupan kita dan Yesus memberikan hidup yang
All right, let's move
berlimpahan.
out to the second circle. From here, you can see the three words: prayer, Bible, and discipleship community.
Kita lihat lingkaran kedua, Alkitab, berdoa, dan pemuritan komunitas.
So how do we live this life to the full that Jesus has for us?
Bagaimana kita menghidupi hidup yang berkelimpahan ini?
By taking time to pray, to read the Bible, and to be a part of discipleship community.
Dengan memberikan waktu khusus untuk berdoa, untuk membaca firman dan memuridkan.
This is how we position ourselves as Christ followers.
Kita memposisikan diri kita sebagai pengikut Kristus.
And this is about building lifestyle habits that connect us to the source of life.
Ini adalah membangun kebiasaan untuk kita tetap berkoneksi dengan sumber kehidupan.
This is how life to the full is sustained in us, is by connecting to Jesus through these ways.
Inilah dimana hidup berkelimpahan itu tetap terkoneksi dengan Tuhan Yesus itu.
And these are three of our core spiritual disciplines as Christians.
Ini adalah 3 sumber utama sebagai seorang Kristen.
They are ancient, sacred practices of Jesus followers.
Dan juga praktek kita sebagai pengikut Kristus.
We could call them holy habits
Ini disebut kebiasaan kudus,
or daily rhythms
irama harian
or pathways to life.
atau jalan kehidupan.
So with the Bible, firstly there, we see that we have access to God's eternal truth.
Di dalam Alkitab kita bisa punya akses pada kebenaran.
The living word of God available to each one of us to guide us and lead us.
Firman Tuhan yang hidup menuntun kita setiap hari.
We also have prayer,
Berdoa,
our main way of communicating with God.
cara utama kita berkomunikasi dengan Tuhan itu berdoa.
That we can hear His heart and that we can share our heart with Him.
Kita bisa mendengar hatinya Tuhan dan kita bisa sharing apa yang di hati kita.
And then thirdly, we have the discipleship community.
Yang ketiga kita punya pemuritan komunitas.
We're talking about doing real life together,
Artinya melakukan hidup bersama yang sesungguhnya.
being open and vulnerable, accountable to one another.
Terbuka dan juga bertanggung jawab satu dengan yang lain.
It'll be that iron sharpening iron,
Di mana besi menajamkan besi.
those Christian relationships that make a big difference in our lives.
Ya, di mana dengan sesama orang percaya yang saling membangun.
So these three elements, they're the basis of our walk with Jesus.
3 elemen ini adalah elemen dasar untuk kita berjalan bersama Tuhan.
And so as we continue to focus in these three areas, we're going to see fruit in our lives.
Ketika kita fokus dengan 3 area ini, kita lihat ada buah dari kehidupan kita.
Now you might be thinking, Rach, this is kind of basic. Like, yeah, you've talked about this a lot, prayer, Bible, community. Like, isn't there something new? Where's the big vision? Like, where's the big stuff that we need to do?
Ya, mungkin kalau kita pikir ini kan hal-hal yang basic dan mana visi yang besar.
But I want you to think about your favorite soccer player. Do you call it football or soccer? Football. Football? Soccer. Soccer? You call it soccer? Yeah. Anyway,
Oke,
soccer player.
saudara pikirkan pemain sepak bola yang saudara suka,
Or your favorite player in the NBA.
atau pemain NBA,
Or your favorite surfer.
atau surfer favorit. Oh, udah cinta ya.
Jinta. That's right. Everyone's favorite surfer here. And so if you think about these people, the way that they achieve success is by being able to do the basics really well.
Iya. Saudara kalau lihat mereka bagaimana mencapai kesuksesan yang sudah tinggi. Mereka mulai dari hal-hal kecil yang setiap hari dan disiplin.
I can't imagine how many shots of the basketball that Steph Curry takes every single day. It would probably be in the hundreds of thousands. The same drills that he does with the two balls. I don't know if you've seen him on this. I can do that. No, I can't. You know, he's doing those drills every single day. But he's like a professional NBA player. Why does he have to practice shooting and dribbling the ball, like the basics of basketball?
Iya, jadi pemain NBA profesional itu bukan sekali lempar langsung profesional, enggak. Dia butuh setiap hari latihan ratusan kali untuk melempar.
Because they know the value in being able to become experts at those basic skills.
Iya, untuk menjadi expert kita harus mulai dari skill yang dasar.
And so as a church, we're going to become experts at prayer, Bible, and community.
Iya, sebagai gereja kita mau jadi expert, ahlinya dalam Alkitab, berdoa dan juga discipleship.
And as we do that, we're going to see fruit in our lives like we could never imagine.
Dengan setia melakukannya, kita lihat buah-buah dalam kehidupan kita.
And so this year, we're going to have opportunities to grow in these three areas.
Di tahun ini mari kita lihat pertumbuhan kita di 3 area ini.
In just over a week's time, we're going to launch our first PTL challenge for the year.
Iya, seminggu lagi kita akan launching PTL Pathway to Life.
So it's going to be on Monday, the 7th of March.
7 Maret,
And that's
Senin.
going to be go for 21 days.
Ada 21 hari.
And this is about establishing a prayer and Bible reading habit in our lives.
Kita mau mulai lagi kebiasaan berdoa dan membaca Alkitab bersama-sama mulai dari hal yang kecil.
And those that are extra spiritual might want to add some fasting into that, but it's not compulsory. But if you would like to, you can also do that.
Nanti kita juga ada berpuasa bersama.
And so we're going to be committing to seeing that habit established in our daily routine.
Dan kita mau lihat kebiasaan itu terbangun dalam diri kita.
And so we'll give you more details about that next week. But I want to encourage you to say, yes, okay, this is coming up. I'm going to do this with our church. I'm going to get involved and be a part of
Ya,
this.
minggu depan akan diberikan detailnya, tapi saudara harus punya semangat. Iya, aku mau ikut.
Sometimes we need help from people around us. It's much easier to go exercising when someone else is with you. If it's just you,
Ya,
you can easily say, I'm too tired. Or
ya.
I've got a sore toe and I don't want to do
Jadi
this today.
ketika challenge ini dilakukan, jangan sendirian, harus bersama-sama. Sama seperti kalau kita olahraga, kayak saya malas.
And so let's all,
Harus ada teman untuk bersama-sama
That's
olahraga rohani.
yeah. So we want to do this together as a church family.
Iya, kita akan bersama sebagai keluarga gereja.
And in regards to growing in our discipleship community, we have some new connect groups that we're launching this year.
Iya, juga untuk Discipleship Community ada connect group baru yang terbentuk tahun ini,
They're going to be starting in March.
mulai bulan Maret.
So we have UC is going to continue that. They have another night. They've already run one on the 9th of March. So that's a Wednesday night.
Iya, ada UC Connect hari Rabu tanggal 9 Maret.
We have a brand new group, a prayer group that's going to be launched with the wonderful Linny.
Iya,
So
prayer group.
that's going to start on the 16th of March.
Prayer group dipimpin oleh Ibu Lin tanggal 16 Maret Rabu.
Then we have the men's group.
Men's group.
That's how they normally. Is that all they're going to do? Is just talk like that? I don't know. So that's on the 23rd of March, and so we have an opportunity for all the guys, no matter what age, the youngest to the oldest, that you can join together and be a part of that men's group.
Iya, di men's group tanggal 23 tidak terbatas umur, tapi yang sudah dewasa ya.
And then we also have the ladies are going to be hanging out together the last Wednesday of the month. This is going to be the 30th of March. We'll have something special in store just for the ladies.
Iya, ladies group untuk khusus cewek, cowok nggak boleh datang tanggal 30 Maret.
And so this is, again, open to every age group. There's no limitations except for the UC crew. You have to be university age to go to that one. But this is an opportunity for us, not just to go to church on a Sunday, but to meet midweek and get that faith boost as we meet together.
Jadi ini adalah kesempatan kita sebagai gereja bukan hanya ibadah hari Minggu, tapi berkumpul di tengah minggu untuk kita semakin bertumbuh.
So when we're at church, there's me speaking and Lena speaking, and you're kind of basically listening. There's not a lot of opportunity for discipleship to take place because you're not given the opportunity to respond with what's being said.
Ya, kalau hari Minggu kan hanya satu arah, tapi kalau ketika di grup komsel itu kita dua arah di mana kita bisa saling bertumbuh.
So this is only one part of the discipleship process, coming to church on a Sunday, that we need to place ourselves in positions where we can share our faith, our struggles, our good things with other people and to hear their perspective.
Ya, ini adalah bagian pemuritan di mana kita bisa sharing apa yang menjadi struggle saudara, Saudara juga membagikan iman saudara, di mana kita bisa bertumbuh bersama.
And the best way for that to happen is within connect groups.
Di mana itu terjadi hanya melalui connect group.
And so everyone should be able to fit into at least one of those groups.
Iya, saudara pilihlah grup yang sesuai dengan saudara, atau bisa 2.
So my encouragement to you is to choose at least one. You can do more than one.
Iya.
You can only do 3 though, because there is a limitation. You can't do all 4. Yeah.
Saudara bisa hanya 1 tapi kami mau encourage saudara bisa 2.
So commit to it and say, yes, I'm going to make that a priority. Every single time it's on, I'm going to be at the ladies group. I'm going to be at the prayer group. Make that commitment in your heart.
Iya. Buat komitmen saudara untuk tetap setia ikut konsep.
So as we do these things, prayer, Bible, and community,
Saat kita setia melakukan doa, Alkitab, dan juga pemuritan komunitas,
we're staying connected to the life source.
kita berkoneksi dengan sumber kehidupan.
Alrighty, let's look at the last circle. This
Kita
is
lihat
the what circle.
lingkaran terakhir yaitu what atau apa,
And so we have grow as influencers,
bertumbuh sebagai pemberi pengaruh,
go beyond +1,
go beyond +1,
and building healthy relationships.
membangun hubungan yang sehat.
And so this circle represents the impact or the fruitfulness of our lives when we're putting Bible, prayer, community, Jesus at the center. When that's happening, this is the fruit that we can expect.
Jadi lingkaran ini adalah buah dari lingkaran yang kedua.
This is what the outworking of our faith looks like.
Ini adalah hasil buah pekerjaan dari yang lingkaran kedua.
This is His kingdom come, His will be done here on earth as it is in heaven.
Biar kerajaan Tuhan datang di bumi seperti di surga.
And so we grow as influencers.
Kita harus bertumbuh sebagai orang yang mempunyai pengaruh.
And God has called us, particularly our church here, to be a lighthouse that stands on the hill and shines out across this land.
Karena Tuhan memanggil kita untuk menjadi cahaya di atas bukit.
He's called us to be influencers in the government, in education, in community.
Untuk kita menjadi pengaruh di pemerintahan, di pendidikan, atau dimanapun saudara ditempatkan.
And God has given each one of you special gifts and abilities. And as we say yes to Jesus coming and anointing and empowering those gifts, we're going to see great fruitfulness, great influence happen.
Ya, saudara mungkin sadari, saudara punya talenta atau gift yang Tuhan kasih secara pribadi itu berbeda dengan orang lain, itu saudara pakai untuk memuliakan Tuhan.
And as we look at go beyond +1,
Saat kita melihat go beyond +1,
this is connected to Jesus' Great Commission.
ini sama seperti namanya amanat agung
Given in Matthew 28,
di Matius 28,
where Jesus says, go and make disciples of all nations.
di mana Tuhan bilang, pergilah jadikanlah semua bangsa muridku.
And so this is about us impacting our family, our friends, our workplace.
Sama seperti kita menjangkau yang pertama keluarga kita, teman-teman kita, dan orang yang sekitar kita.
As we're connected to Jesus, the life source, naturally that life is going to flow out of us everywhere we go. The things we say, the things we do, that we're going to be sharing the life and love of Jesus.
Sama seperti kita terkoneksi dengan Tuhan, sumber kehidupan kita, hidup kita itu akan menjadi pengaruh dan membawa orang lain pada Tuhan.
And this is about us being active in our local, regional and global missions efforts.
Kita mau terlibat secara lokal, regional, dan global misi.
And us helping people take steps closer to following
Di mana
Jesus.
kita membawa orang untuk lebih dekat lagi kepada Tuhan.
And lastly, we have building healthy relationships.
Terakhir, membangun hubungan yang sehat.
This is where we're walking in the way of love
Di mana kita mengasihi orang lain.
and seeing God's power and grace in our friendships,
Di mana kita lihat kuasa dan kasih karunia Tuhan dalam persahabatan kita satu dengan yang lain.
in our marriages, in our relationships,
Dalam pernikahan kita, dalam hubungan kita dengan orang
in
lain.
our parenting,
Dan juga dalam pengasuhan orang tua.
in all our relationships.
Segala hubungan.
So this is the fruit that we want to see in our lives,
Ini buah yang kita mau lihat dalam kehidupan kita semua.
that we would grow as influencers,
Kita bertumbuh sebagai orang memberi dampak,
that would go beyond,
menjangkau orang,
and we would build healthy
dan
relationships.
membangun hubungan yang sehat.
Okay, so have a look at those circles one last time.
Mari kita lihat kembali. Sudah ingat saudara?
Have you memorized them all?
Sudah ingat?
So we've got the 7 elements, and remember that Jesus is at the very center.
Ada 7 elemen di mana Yesus adalah pusat segalanya.
He is our life source,
Sumber kehidupan,
our purpose, our reason,
tujuan dan alasan kenapa,
our focus.
dan fokus kita.
And then we have in the second circle the 3 things that help us connect to the life source: prayer, Bible, and discipleship community.
Lingkaran kedua, doa, Alkitab, juga Discipleship Community.
And then in the last circle, that's the fruit that we're going to see, the impact that we're going to have,
Di lingkaran ketiga adalah buah dari hasil lingkaran kedua.
that we're going to grow as influencers.
Bertumbuh sebagai influencer,
We're going to go beyond
go beyond,
and build healthy
dan
relationships.
membangun hubungan yang sehat.
All right, let's finish in a moment of prayer. Let's bow our heads.
Mari kita berdoa, saudara.
And I just want you to reflect right now.
Saya akan mengajak saudara merefleksikan
What is it that God's speaking to you about?
apa yang sudah Tuhan bicarakan hari ini melalui pesan saya.
Maybe today He's going to be giving you fresh vision and fresh faith to hold on to that vision.
Mungkin hari ini Tuhan memberikan visi yang baru atau kesegaran baru untuk melihat apa yang saudara mau kerjakan.
It's easy in a time and situation like this that we can get distracted by all the things that are happening in the world.
Dengan keadaan sekarang ini mungkin kita terlalu terganggu dengan hal-hal dunia ini.
And we can get caught up in the fear and the worry and the anxiety.
Mungkin saudara kena terlalu banyak takut dan khawatir.
And we can lose sight of the fact that actually God is still in control in the midst of what is happening.
Kita lupa bahwa sebenarnya Tuhan masih memegang kendali atas kehidupan kita.
And that He still has a plan and purpose that He wants to unfold.
Dia masih punya tujuan untuk hidupmu.
That His desire is that not one should perish,
Dia tidak ingin satupun dari kita menjadi binasa,
but that all would be saved.
tapi semua diselamatkan.
And that hasn't changed, that His desire is that people would come to know Him.
Kerinduan hatinya Tuhan kalau semua orang datang mengenal Dia.
And so today as a church we've talked about the vision that God has for us.
Hari ini sebagai gereja kita mendengarkan apa visinya Tuhan untuk kita sendiri dan gereja kita.
And I want to say to us again, dream again, let's dream again, let's pick up the dream, let's pick up the vision.
Saya mau bilang mari ambil kembali visi dan mimpi-mimpinya Tuhan.
Our focus is not on the fear or the worry.
Jangan fokus pada takut ataupun kekhawatiran.
Our focus is not on the circumstance.
Jangan fokus pada keadaanmu,
Our focus is on Jesus.
tapi fokuslah pada Yesus.
And in the end, He wins.
Dan pada akhirnya Tuhanlah yang menang.
And in the end, we win.
Dan pada akhirnya kita pun menang.
And no matter what happens in this life,
Apapun yang terjadi di kehidupan ini,
our eternities are assured
karena hidup yang kekal sudah Tuhan janjikan.
as we put our faith and trust in
Saat
Jesus.
kita menaruh iman dan percaya pada Yesus.
And so today I want you to just stir your heart up again
Hari ini mari buka kembali hatimu saudara.
and to look up, to lift your eyes,
Untuk engkau mengangkat pandanganmu.
to stand on that mountaintop
Berdiri di atas puncak gunung.
and to look out ahead for what God has for us as a church.
Lihat sekelilingmu apa yang Tuhan sudah taruh sebagai gereja.
Think about the different communities we're going to reach in the Bukit area.
Pikirkan komunitas yang Tuhan sudah taruh kamu.
Think
Di
about the
mana?
families,
Keluargamu,
the children, the youth,
anak-anak muda,
the university students.
orang-orang di kampus.
And then look beyond, look towards the horizon, look to the mountain areas, the people that haven't been reached yet with the good news of the gospel.
Dan lihat lebih jauh lagi banyak orang yang belum mengenal Tuhan, mendengarkan Injil.
You know, little farming communities around Kintamani, there's different areas, there's people that haven't been reached yet. Our church is going to be part of reaching those people.
Dan juga area-area di mana orang yang belum pernah mendengar Tuhan. Mari, biar gereja kita menjangkau.
That we do not have a small vision.
Kita nggak punya visi yang hanya kecil.
Our vision is big because our eyes are fixed on our big God.
Visi kita besar karena kita punya Tuhan yang besar.
And that as we say yes to Him,
Saat kita bilang iya pada Tuhan,
He's going to use this little small family here in the Bukit
Dia akan memakai kita sebagai keluarga di sini
to grow in influence,
untuk menjadi pengaruh,
to go beyond,
untuk go beyond,
to be able to reach families
untuk menjangkau keluarga
and to see people saved.
dan melihat orang diselamatkan.
Beyond this community, into this rest of this island and even into the other islands of Indonesia.
Jauh melebihi di komunitas ini juga beberapa kota dan pulau di luar Bali.
The possibilities are endless in God.
Ada kemungkinan dan kepastian di dalam Tuhan.
And so Lord, right now I just pray that you would release faith into our church.
Tuhan, lepaskan iman atas gerejamu.
God, you're lifting up our eyes.
Engkau angkat mata kami untuk melihat.
Our eyes are off of our circumstance and we're looking forward into the future that you have for us.
Melihat jauh dari keadaan kami saat ini.
And that as you've given this vision to Pastor Jason M,
Saat kau memberikan visi ini pada Pastor Jason M,
as a church we say yes to that vision.
kami mau katakan yes Tuhan sebagai
That we
gereja atas
say
visimu.
yes to pursuing that vision that you have for us.
Kamu bilang yes atas visi yang Tuhan sudah tempatkan untuk kami.
God, I pray that there would be a new place of depth in our relationship with you.
Kami berdoa Tuhan ada hubungan yang dalam antara kami dengan Engkau Tuhan.
That we would truly experience the life to the full that you have for
Sehingga
us.
kami semua mengalami kehidupan yang berkelimpahan di dalam Engkau.
That God, we're going to become experts at prayer and at Bible, reading the Bible and joining in the faith community.
Dan kami menjadi orang yang ahli dalam firman Tuhan, dalam berdoa dan juga mau menjangkau orang.
And we're going to see a great level of fruitfulness like we could never imagine.
Dan kami akan lihat buah-buah yang akan kami hasilkan.
And it's going to be all for your glory and your name,
Dan
Jesus.
semuanya bagi kemuliaan Engkau Tuhan.
And so thank you, God, for what you have for our future.
Terima kasih Tuhan untuk masa depan yang Tuhan sudah
As a
disediakan.
church, we say, yes, Lord.
Kami sebagai gereja mau bilang, ya Tuhan.
Have your way in us, we pray.
Nyatakan jalan-Mu atas kami.
We ask in your mighty name, Jesus, all these things.
Dalam nama Yesus kami berdoa.
And everyone said,
Amin.
Amen. All right, thank you so much, guys.
Saya berharap ketika saudara mendengarkan visi gereja kita untuk tahun 2022 dan ke depannya, saudara bisa terinspirasi dan juga mau berkomitmen untuk bilang ya ke dalam setiap proses expansion yang Tuhan mau di dalam kehidupan kita. Mari kita tetap semangat dan juga tetap bilang ya di dalam panggilan Tuhan yang sudah Tuhan sediakan buat kita.
Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 The Lord bless you and keep you, make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. And amen. 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 Singing amen. 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 May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you. He is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you. 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 Yes, amen. And amen. And amen. Amen. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you. He is with you in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you. 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 For you. For you. For you. For you. Amen. 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 To the promises. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Jika saudara baru pertama kali mengikuti ibadah hari ini, selamat datang dan selamat menjadi bagian dalam gereja kami. Kami sangat ingin bisa berkoneksi dengan saudara, sehingga kami menyediakan opsi yang dinamakan Want to Connect with Our Church yang bisa saudara akses di dalam kolom deskripsi di bawah ini. Dan jika saudara ingin mengerti lebih lagi tentang perjalanan kekristenan atau ingin mengerti lagi tentang iman dan juga mengikuti Tuhan Yesus, kami menyediakan opsi yang dinamakan Next Step yang bisa saudara akses di dalam kolom deskripsi yang di bawah ini. Dan jika saudara ingin memberikan persembahan, saudara bisa memberikan persembahan secara online yang detailnya akan kami tampilkan sebentar lagi. Tidak terasa kita sudah berada di penghujung acara hari ini. Terima kasih karena saudara tetap mengikuti ibadah online hari ini, dan kami sangat senang karena saudara bisa bergabung bersama kami. Tetap semangat dalam perjalanan iman saudara, tetap semangat dalam mengikuti panggilan Tuhan, karena kita tahu Tuhan sudah menyediakan sesuatu yang besar buat kita ke depannya. Terima kasih saudara telah bergabung di ibadah hari ini. Saya berharap saudara bisa mendapatkan inspirasi dan juga kekuatan yang baru. Sampai berjumpa di ibadah minggu depan di YouTube channel kami. Dan ingat untuk like, komen, dan juga subscribe YouTube channel kami. Terima kasih saudara, selamat hari Minggu dan sampai jumpa minggu depan.